Boy, it's a miserable place to get into. That little slot right there and reaching way back there, 2.5 feet. But I'm done. Good morning. Welcome back to Rolling Hills Farm. So we can't bale, so today we're going to work on this baler and try to figure out this Netwrap problem. So if you missed the last video, here's the issue we're dealing with. Netwrap coverage misses one side of the bale and then kind of overlaps on the other side. It doesn't always happen. These are bales we just brought home from the last field, and some of them are terrible. Now, we tightened down the tension on the Netwrap, and this is one of the bales that we did after we tightened the tension, and you see it almost completely solves the problem. Our concern is that incomplete coverage of the Netwrap sort of negates the advantage of having Netwrap, because you've got this hay exposed, and especially look at that one. The weather is going to get into that bale and is going to cause a deterioration of the hay, so we're going to need to feed this one early. So there's a complicated series of procedures in the book to solve this problem. You see there's a series of adjustments that have to do with clearances of the duckbill. That's the big wide thing back there that slides the Netwrap into the bale when you're ready to tie it. And then the knife, which cuts the Netwrap. So we have to check those clearances. Then there's tension. This brake right here, this tension roller right here, need to be set to factory specs, and they've got weight adjustments. And lastly, sharpening the knife. There's the knife right there. It runs all the way along, and you see these bolts right there. There's 4 bolts on each knife section, and the knife edge needs to be razor sharp. So let's get this thing in the shop and get to it. I've got the baler all wide open, the gate up and locked so it doesn't fall down and squish me. First is the clearance on the duckbill, and it's supposed to be 63/100ths. Good on that side. And good on that side. Next step is to manually extend the duckbill and see if it's going far enough. Manual, and there it goes. Okay, we're just gonna shut you off for a minute. And there's the edge of the duckbill, 1 3/4 inches. Yeah, that's right, the perfect length. All right, the next measurement to check is the brake here, 3/16 inches, which I have right here, and holy cow, you can see that better than I can. There's the problem. It's like 3 times too big. All right, 3/16 inches. All right, the next test is net tension. They recommend a pull test on the Netwrap. So you see, I've got my old meat scale here. It's coming out roughly halfway between 75 and 100. So I would say net tension is just about right. Next step is to manually remove and sharpen, remove these knife blades. There's 3 of them in there, and boy, they look like a pain to get at, and sharpen them. Oh, there. There's the first knife section. But wow, does that ever feel sharp. And as best I can tell, is straight, which is what they want. Well, this one on this side is a lot more difficult to get out, and holy cow, is it rusty. Looks like this one's never been sharpened. There's a sharp edge. Just want to make sure I get all the burrs off. There. All the knife blades sharpened. Boy, it's a miserable place to get into. That little slot right there, and reaching way back there, 2.5 feet. But I'm done. Well, it took almost 2 days, but in the end we tightened the net tension, checked all the clearances of the moving parts, we adjusted the brake, which was very worn, and we sharpened the knives that cut the net roll. Well, now it's time to get into the field and see how it worked. Well, I'm out here with the baler after repairs. This is the first field we've done since I made all those adjustments, and it's kind of a small field. This was one of the sections that was too wet this spring. It's kind of thin grass out here, so, but at least part of these, some of these windrows are fairly thick, so it should be a pretty good test for how the baler works. Well, here's bale number 1, and I'd say that's just about perfect. Netwrap started very evenly here, just slightly over the edge on each side. Well, that's a good start. Let's see if it keeps up. See how she goes. There goes the Netwrap. You can see through that little hole right there. I'm waiting for the alarm. There's the alarm. I'm kicking out the bale. Well, that is a perfect bale. Nice and level across the top. Netwrap right to the edge, which is where I want it. You can see where the Netwrap was applied. It's not jagged. The Netwrap is straight across. So now we've moved to the lower section. You can see I'm dealing with much heavier windrows, and so that's going to be a test for the baler repairs, because we noticed that we seem to have more problems in heavier hay. And that's the dump alarm. And now we take off again. And I can see through my side mirror, that bale looks really good too. Well, I picked up the speed, the ground speed on these last couple of bales, that one and this one, and got the same result. So far, this entire field, 10, 11 bales, I haven't had any problems with the Netwrap. It's going on whatever speed I go, whatever thickness the windrows are. So I'm in the next field. Neighbor Dave is up over in that field, round baling. We're continuing to make some really pretty bales, and this is pretty good quality hay. These windrows are nice, but this field is awful. Some non-farmer must have run his four-wheel drive through here this spring and rutted this all up. It was terribly bumpy, mowing, raking and tedding. I'm crawling now at super low speed just to keep from damaging my baler. Frustrating when people get out here and think it's funny to bury their trucks in the mud and then they don't warn us. This may be our last year in this field. It's not worth it. It's too bad too, because we replanted all this a couple years ago, put a lot of money into fuel and seed, but it's got a new owner. He's a kid and his recreation is beating the shit out of his four-wheelers and dirt bikes, and obviously his pickup truck out here in hayfields. So he's gonna have to find somebody else to cut this. It's hard to see. You can kind of see the ruts down there, but it's a mess. Now you can see Neighbor Dave is baling on that side of the field, and I'm over here. This is some pretty nice hay, small windrows put together with Dave's smaller rake, so I'm having to weed quite a bit to pick these up, and I've increased my ground speed quite a bit just to kind of keep the hay flow even. Well, that's a pretty successful day. Not a lot of bales, 21 for me, and Dave looks like he's made probably 25. But every Netwrap bale wrapped perfectly. So I'm pretty confident I can say the adjustments made in the shop last week did the job, and at least for now have solved the problem of incomplete net coverage. Well, thanks for watching. We've got some big haying yet to go. Two of our largest fields are due as soon as we get past this little rain over the next couple days, and that'll wrap up first crop. Hope you join us. We'll see you then. Well, here's the rain. We're actually short for July after such a wet spring. It's hard to even believe we were short of rainfall, and we're making up for it right now.